exec, el exec, el exec. El Vélez, el Vélez, el Vélez. El fenómeno que todos quieren ser. El chamaquito que no pueden entender.
How we doing, guys? Welcome to episode 127 of the Exec Talk podcast. I'm your host, Elvalez. How we doing? All right, so let's get the big question out of the way. Why am I late? I'm 2 episodes behind, right? Well, I recorded last Thursday's episode. Audio came out bad. Had to take it down. That was 45 minutes. I did it on Monday to put it out on Tuesday. Audio came back bad. It was recorded bad. My computer just decided to go take a shits on itself. It's from 2013, 14-ish. I know she's an old girl, but, she's been working well. I didn't expect it to be, that bad. So after Monday's episode, I was highly upset because it was an hour and, hadn't put out content. And so I gave it 2 days, turned off the computer, did other things and stuff like that. But it's going to be Thursday tomorrow. You guys deserve an episode. So I'm going to encompass everything from last Thursday's episode, Monday's episode, and of course, everything that encompasses this episode into this episode. So hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, hit the comments, follow me on all my socials if you enjoy. I really work hard on these for you guys. I enjoy it a lot. I do it, I do it because I love it, because I see a future in it as well. But yeah, that's why you guys haven't gotten an episode in almost a week. Other than that, let's get right to it. Let's get cracking. Last week, first thing we got to talk about is F1. An incredible Belgian Grand Prix in Spa. Very controversial at the end, about an hour after the Grand Prix was over. But big takeaways. Charles Leclerc took pole because Max Verstappen got a 10 place grid penalty for changing his engine, his power unit. Okay, so in the past at Spa, they had done this. Red Bull had done this before, and Verstappen had won from 14th, from 14th. He won from 9th one year. So people thought, I thought a little bit. I was like, I thought I was like, maybe he does it again. But considering also McLaren had been on the front foot and been the fastest, been the fastest car over the last, I want to say, about the last 6 races. They've been like the fastest car, maybe the last 4 or 5 races. They've been the most consistent fast car, especially on race day. And that the Mercedes, after collecting 2 wins in the last 3 races, I thought, that maybe Verstappen wasn't going to be as dominant. And that's exactly what happened. So Charles Leclerc gets pole. Sergio Perez, yes, Checo, gets second starting spot. And then you have Lewis third. George Russell had to start a little bit in the back because he got, it was rainy Friday practice. It was rainy on qualifying on Saturday. And then on Sunday, Spa being Spa, decided to be sunny all day, no rain. And so it threw a wrench into plans because people said, teams thought that maybe it was going to be a wet race and what are we going to run? They qualified on intermediates. So nobody knew what the soft was gonna do, what the medium was gonna do, what the hard was gonna do. But they had an idea that the hard was gonna be a good tire. So race starts. Checo not Checo, but Lando in the 4th spot loses 2 places. He goes back to 6th in the first corner. Lewis jumps into the 2nd spot, then chases down Charles Leclerc, and is winning the race. It's supposed to be a 2-stop race. They start all on mediums except Carlos Sainz. He started on hards, thinking that maybe a 1-stop was possible, which we will see that most definitely was. So Lewis winning. George Russell, during pit stops, he pits at lap 10, takes the mediums off, and then puts hards on. And he, around lap 35-ish, actually no, because it was a 44-lap race. So around lap 26-ish, 25-ish, they ask him, hey, are you thinking of coming to pit? Or are you going to box? And he said on the radio, he said, I think about going long. Mercedes, since they already had Lewis in the front, and they ran the simulations and said, even if he doesn't stop, or if he does stop, George Russell has a chance to get 5th either way. They said, okay, George, stay out. George stayed out. Lewis comes in. He gets a pair of hards. After that, Lewis comes in for his first pit stop, puts on a set of hards. And then, he goes back out like in 6th place, 4th place. And he works his way through the field, gets to 2nd. Is around 10 seconds behind George Russell. And George just dominates the rest of the race. And Lewis is catching him and gets to about 5-6 laps left, especially the last 4 laps. He's right there, 2/10, 3/10. But for some reason, and George Russell did a really, really good job at this, they called him the tire whisperer. George saved saved the hard tire. The hard tire was the best tire for the race. And from lap 10 to lap 44, so 34 laps stint, he kept the tires on. They looked good. Coming out of the last corner, Lewis was always super close. Super close. 2/10, 3/10. We're talking about less than a car length. But unfortunately, coming out of that last corner, George just found a way to get just a little bit more traction than Lewis. And since Lewis is behind him, the turbulent air upsets Lewis's car coming out of that corner. It buys George like 2-3 tenths down the straightaway. Once Lewis takes the first corner, which is a DRS detection point, he gets close going into our Arnage. Or Rouge. Going into Eau Rouge, which is that giant, basically mountain corner, the mountain S's before you get to the second DRS zone, and he's around like 4 tenths. When they go through Eau Rouge, it goes back to 5 tenths, and then once it's 5 tenths, even with the DRS, he just can't catch up enough to try to pass him into turn 4. And then the lap is just so long, and those are the only 2 passing zones in the track. So George ends up winning by 5 tenths of a second. And Oscar Piastri was catching him. Like, we're talking about 8 tenths a second a lap catching him. He ran down, I believe he ran down like a 7-second lead to Lewis, about 8 or 9 second lead to George Russell. And he closed it down. He started closing it down when it was like a 5.5 seconds, and he started closing down 8 tenths a lap, and the laps are coming down. So when at the finish, you get George, Lewis, Oscar Piastri, Carlos Sainz 4th, 5th, you get Verstappen. And then 6th, you get Norris. 7th, you get Leclerc, I believe. And then 8th, you get Checo. So Checo goes from 2nd all the way to 8th. They're still keeping him over the summer break. We've arrived to the summer break. We're going to get into some news. But so the big thing that came out of this race was George wins on a strategy call. Lewis seems upset when he gets out of the car. Even when he gets to 2nd, he was dominating the race. You know, he deserved the win. I don't know if he felt like the team undercut him or, you know, George had a great strategy call and it worked. So about an hour and a half later, when cars go through technicals after the race, it comes out that George Russell's car, was 1.5 kilograms under the legal limit by the regulations. Automatically, he's disqualified from the race. Lewis gets promoted to winner, and then everybody moves up a spot. So Oscar's 2nd. You get Sainz with a podium in 3rd. And then Lewis gets his 105th victory. Mercedes came out, Toto Wolff came out, said it was an honest mistake by the team. We're going to look at the data and what happened. People say there's speculation that maybe because he went on the one stop, that he basically just ran the tires out of that 1.5 kilograms. Could be something they left out of the car by accident. Some people are saying that since Spa doesn't have a cool down lap, he can't. Those 1.5 kilograms could be picked up again when they do the parade lap after they win, which they get into the marbles and it sticks to the tires because they're still hot, and that could add the weight back. So all that, George, of course, extremely disappointed. But Mercedes is encouraged. Going into the summer break, they got 3 wins in the last 4 races. They asked Lewis if he's going to fight for the championship if there's a chance. He said no. They're far away back, but definitely can fight for maybe the constructors, but they have to really start putting away wins and really top 3s and top 2s basically. So what comes out going into the summer break? Well, into the summer break, we get a couple of things. Driver lineups for 2025 has started to take shape. Okay? They've started to take shape, and starting with Carlos Sainz, Alex Albon is going to race with Williams. He signed through multiple years. Let's see here. Trying to find it here where it starts. Okay, right. Here we go. Esteban Ocon, signs a multi-year deal with Haas. So he's going to be the teammate of Kevin Magnussen because Nico Hülkenberg signed a deal with Audi for next year, a multi-year deal with Audi. We still don't know what his partner is going to be. We don't know if they're going to bump up somebody from F2 or they're going to go after somebody that's already has a seat. We'll see about that. But Esteban Ocon and Kevin Magnussen and Haas with a team that's kind of moving up the chart and getting better every race weekend and starting to log in points and stuff like that. That's a good signing for them. The other one was Carlos Sainz to Williams, which was very surprising. So him and Alex Albon create a team. I believe for me, if I were to say what do I think of that move? What I think of that move is that I guess Williams feels, and so does Carlos. I mean, it's a legendary brand. I mean, to race for the W that has won championships and with Nelson Piquet Jr. and KK Rosberg, you have Damian Hill, So you have like it's a legendary outfit in Formula One. But at the same time, in saying that, they haven't been good for a long time. They've been in the back for a long time. They found some pace now. But I don't know. I think they're betting on 2026 when the regulations change, when it's a completely different car, and everybody starts from zero. I think that's why possibly Sainz, and that Lewis Hamilton's trying to buy the team. I think that's why Sainz went to Williams. Other than that, Red Bull actually released today that they're sticking with Checo. They're not going to put Ricciardo in the car for the rest of the season. They're sticking with Checo. Interesting, but what I can see is that Checo does everything for the team. He doesn't have the pace of Verstappen, so he can't challenge him. It's a very he can try, but as long as Verstappen is like, we're doing everything for Verstappen to win another championship and the constructors, I think that they're gonna stick with Checo. I don't know after this year, but for the rest of the season, Checo's in the car. Another thing is, I think that Red Bull is not going to win the constructors championship. The drivers championship is different. He has Verstappen still has like a two or three race lead, around 80 something points. But for the constructors, I believe that McLaren Mercedes is a little behind. I think McLaren has a ability and will win the constructors title this year, as well as I think they're going to have a problem on their hands because Oscar Piastri is definitely showing pace, and not just raw pace, but like really good strategy, really good driving, just great talent, and showing up like, yo, Norris, like if you don't want it, I'm gonna take it type shit when it comes to like number one driver and stuff like that. All right, so that's Formula One. Hell of a Belgian Grand Prix. Shout out to Lewis. 105th victory, his second victory in 3 races. Very excited for him to, keep winning. People are saying that he might regret going to Ferrari. I don't think so, especially if Adrian Newey goes over there and the 2026 regulations would change. Is all going to be in play. But I don't think that Lewis will regret going to Ferrari, and it's still the premiership team in Formula One history. Okay. Moving on to what has happened from last week to this week in sports as in general. I've bookmarked a lot of stuff. So we're going to get right to it, starting with the first thing that is from it. Okay. Cortland Sutton, probably the number one receiver for Bo Nix at the Broncos. He got they restructured his contract, which is going to pay him around $15.2 million this year, including a $1.5 million in new incentives. Try to somehow, some way keep him. He's a big piece. He's one of the big pieces in the offense, especially with a new rookie quarterback. So keep him happy. I think he's going to have a big year this year, especially if Bo Nix is as good as advertised in the Sean Payton system. Russell Wilson hurts his calf. He woke up with a calf issue out of nowhere before training camp. So Justin Fields takes the first team reps. And they're saying, oh, Justin, when it comes to outside throws one-on-one, he's great. He was great with the run and everything. He's special. But the same problem he had in Chicago. Cannot make the right reads in the intermediate and middle of the field. Cannot read coverages, is still making mistakes, throwing down the middle and getting picked off. So still think that Russell Wilson has a good grip on the starting job. He started, Russell started taking first team reps, I believe, today. Not many. Justin is still taking most of them, but I think that that'll change. They're going with the safe pick. I don't think that they'll go Justin Fields out of nowhere, willy-nilly. Aaron Rodgers to Garrett Wilson at their training camp is looking good. That is the one team I'm scared of in the AFC East. I know what Rodgers is going to give me if he's healthy. I don't have to worry about it. I know it's going to be 30-plus touchdowns, less than 10 picks. Might have another MVP season. He's that good. What I'm really worried about is that he has possibly a top 3 running back in Breece Hall, two-way, because he catches the ball and runs the ball. And he probably has most likely has a top 10 to top 5 receiver in Garrett Wilson. That's what I'm worried about. What I'm not worried about is that it's the Jets. Still Robert Saleh, Nathaniel Hackett. Can he make the magic again like they did at the Packers with the gold zone? We shall see. But it looks good with Aaron Rodgers. Kirk Cousins got cleared to play from the Achilles, so he's going to be taking modified reps until he's fully ramped up at Atlanta minicamp. Another Jets thing. Being the Jets, right? There's going to be some offseason problems. Hassan Reddick hasn't shown up. They put him on the reserve did not report list for training camp. He's fined $50,000 every day he misses. And they're not forgivable because he's on a veteran contract. That's why you trade Bryce Huff. You trade Bryce Huff to a guy that you're not going to pay, and you were going to put next to Jermaine Johnson, and have a deadly pass rush, and he hasn't even shown up to training camp. The Jets are going to Jets. That's what I mean. The Titans signed former Broncos linebacker Shane Ray, former Mizzou Tiger. So that's good depth for the linebacking core. The Rams, Darion Kendrick tore his ACL. Their starting corner. He tore his ACL in training camp. He's out for the season, unfortunately. So that's a big blow for the Ravens defense. Jordan Addison found himself in a dark place after being arrested for the last suspicion of driving under the influence in his first public comments after the incident. Just play ball, bro. You have JJ McCarthy, you have Sam Darnold, you have a runway after last year to really shine. I think that you should just focus. The Vikings, Mekhi Blackman, top candidate for the nickel job, for the starting job. He tore his ACL. Excuse me. That's a big blow for that Vikings defense as well. Lamar, starting of training camp, was sick, missed a couple days, came back, left again. Now he's fully well, and fully healthy at training camp. But he got sick there at the beginning couple of days. The Bengals worked out Hakeem Butler last week, who led all receivers and all players in the UFL last year. This past year, it was 652 receiving yards. He was also the Offensive Player of the Year in the UFL. And, he got a workout with the Bengals. So maybe trying to add some depth there after Tyler Boyd left. Julian Love, the safety / defensive back for the Seahawks. They gave him a 3-year, $36 million extension. Drew Rosenhaus and Jason Rosenhaus was his agent, so you know how they do with deals. They're really good at it. That's good. It shores up that a potential All-Pro next season. Definitely a Pro Bowler. Really good safety, young. They got him from the Giants last year. So that's good that they they extend him and they ensure his future there in the Seahawks for years to come. CeeDee Lamb is a holdout because he wants a new contract, seeing that everybody's gotten a new contract, everybody with JJ. We're going to talk about DJ Moore. He just received a giant contract. Amon-Ra, got a giant contract. Jamar still waiting. Jamar Chase. But CeeDee's waiting. CeeDee's the number one receiver. He feels that way. I agree with him. And, the Cowboys are in a tough spot. They have to pay Dak. They have to decide whether to pay Dak or not. And they also need to pay CD, and they need, they need to pay Micah Parsons. So it's going to be very tough for the Cowboys. I don't see this season being that good for them. The Raiders get a tough blow with the retirement of Michael Gallup. They just signed him this past offseason. He's going to retire, I guess, because of the head injury, the ACL. He just, at 28 years old, he's hanging him up. Good Colorado State receiver, good deep threat. Had a really good couple years in the Cowboys. Had that breakout year of 1,000 yards. Thought that he was really going to be a piece, and then he tore his ACL, and he wasn't the same last year when he came back, and now he's retired. So the Raiders, sorry guys. Yannick Ngakoue had visited the Carolina Panthers. They did lose Brian Burns to the Giants, so they need to fill a hole for the end and a pass rusher. So we'll see what happens there. Emmanuel Ogbah, we signed him. We worked out both of them, and we just signed Emmanuel Ogbah back to the team, basically. Jaden Reed, the wide receiver for the Packers, passed his physical. That's good. Jalen Guyton and Colton Miller are on the PUP list for the Raiders. Unfortunately, holding out as well as Trent Williams. He wants to get his contract adjusted. Best left tackle in the game. They have to pay Brandon Ayuk, but they have to pay Trent Williams first. I think that this will get done before the season starts. But it's very important to get this done because that is literally, I would say, the third best player in that team behind CMC and Nick Bosa. And they're interchangeable, honestly. So the 49ers have a little pickle there. Devin Tompkins, former Buccaneers wide receiver, signed with the Panthers. Just a little bit more depth. He worked with Dave Canales over there at the Panthers, so it's a nice connection there. The Miami Heat signed Summer League Finals MVP Josh Christopher, the former Houston Rocket, the former highly touted high schooler. We'll see if the Heat culture can mold him into something. I would be very nice for the team, considering we didn't do nothing this offseason. Greg Newsome underwent hamstring surgery last week, and Dalvin Tomlinson will go under knee scope. I think he already did. The team is hopeful that they get him back for week 1. Big parts of that defense. Killian Hayes, this is how the Nets don't know what they're doing. This is honestly a laughable move. Killian Hayes has agreed to a 1-year deal with the Nets and will have a chance to compete for a roster spot. I think their best player is going to be Cam Thomas and Cameron Johnson, to be honest. I don't see anybody else, if I'm being honest. I think the Nets are going to be bottom 3 in the NBA next season. Darion Kendrick did tear his ACL. They confirmed it. Michael Badgley, the kicker for the Lions, he apparently severe injury in his leg. That usually, when they say severe, it's usually not even a tear. They would tell you a tear. It's probably a break, so a broken leg of some kind or a fracture. So they got the UFL kicker, the 2024 UFL kicker, Jake Bates, that kicked 3 60-yard plus field goals in the UFL this past season in Ford Field, which is where Detroit plays. So if we getting into baseball a little bit, the Mariners acquired Randy Arozarena, so he left, Tampa Bay, lost essentially their star. the Mariners need pop. No Julio right now, no JP. They need pop. When those two come back, then it'll be a very powerful, a very powerful lineup with Randy in it. I think is a good add, especially if you want to make the push for the playoffs. Chargers J.K. Domas believe he has a special season coming. I hope so. He's got hurt the last 2 years. He's been, ready to go, ready to roll. I think for Jim Harbaugh is going to be important to have J.K. Dobbins, healthy. Jabril Peppers got a 3-year contract extension from the Patriots worth $24 million and upside to $30 million. I've been watching Jabril Peppers since he was at Michigan. He's electric. He can return. He can pick off. He can hit. And he really is a leader in that defense. I think he's going to be more of a leader in that defense for Gerard Mayo this year. So it's good that they paid him and, have him for the future. The Patriots re-signing this offseason has been Jabril Peppers, Christian Barmore, but he has blood clots, so he's out indefinitely. That's another tough blow for the Patriots, even though they were already looking at a steep road this year. So Christian Barmore got 4 years, $84 million, but now is out with blood clots indefinitely. Ramondre Stevenson, running back, got 4 years, $36 million. Kyle Duggar, the safety, got 4 years, $58 million. And Michael Wenu, the offensive tackle, he got 3 years, $57 million. Hunter Henry got 3 years, $27 million. So they paid the tight end again. They paid wide receiver Kendrick Bourne 3 years, $19.5 million. Jelani Tavai, the great linebacker, young linebacker, the 3 years, $16 million. And then Anthony Jennings, the other linebacker, 3 years, $12 million. So they just re-signed a bunch of their pieces. Russell Westbrook signed a 2-year, $6.8 million deal with the Nuggets, basically to replace Bruce Brown that they lost, that they didn't have last year. A guy for the second unit that can control the second unit, can score if he wants to inside, but a facilitator to facilitate all the shooters that they have coming off the bench, and Strother and Tyson and, all those guys. Tua finally got his contract. Remember we said it would be around, not the highest, but definitely a deal that is worth a number one quarterback. 4 years, $212.4 million in the extension. And at long last, we got that out of the way. Now we need to take care of Tyreek and find a left tackle because Teron Armstead is not getting any younger. The highest paid QBs in the NFL on a per year basis is Joe Burrow at $55 million. Trevor Lawrence at $55 million, who just got paid. Tua is at $53.1. Jared Goff is at 53. Justin Herbert's at 52.5. Lamar Jackson's at 52. And Jalen Hurts at 51. That means CJ Stroud might get close to 60 when his time comes, which is probably after next year, so 2026 after his year 3 season. The Baltimore Orioles acquired Zach Eflin. The trade deadline was yesterday, so we're going to go through a bunch of moves that happened. But we're still like 5 days in my bookmark. We're still like 5 days away from that. But an early trade that happened where Zach Eflin getting sent to the Orioles from the Rays for three minor leaguers in return for one of the top starters available in this market was Zach Eflin. It's good. They don't have John Means. They're missing, I believe, Irving. I forgot who they lost as well. They lost 2 starters. Gibson, I believe, is who they lost. They don't have them too. They needed to add another arm because they were throwing out their Cade Povich, and that wasn't working out very well. So good for them with Zach Eflin. Then the Blue Jays acquired the Mariners acquired Yimi Garcia from the Blue Jays, a right-handed starting pitcher. To add to that Seattle rotation to help, the big four and have some depth. Maybe put him in a bullpen role. But that's, and then the Blue Jays getting rid. They were sellers because they're not going anywhere fast. And then after Tua got signed, here comes Jordan Love. He only played 8 great games last year, but he took them to the playoffs. So they gave him a 4-year, $220 million contract extension, and then made him basically the highest paid quarterback in NFL history. Despite only starting 1 full season. I think the Packers know what they're doing. They knew what they were doing with Brett Favre. They knew what they were doing with Aaron Rodgers. I think they know that this is their guy. They have a young team. He's young. He's shown every ability you want, from touch passes, long passes, intermediate, location, big passes in fourth quarter, and, acrobatic passes off balance. So, 4 years, $220 million. We'll see what happens this year. I still think the Lions are going to be the best team in this division, but the Packers have a legit shot to not shock everybody, but definitely take that spot away from the Lions. A giant, and I mean giant because of what he's done so far. The Yankees got Jazz Chisholm. They needed another bat. Soto and Judge, without Giancarlo, even though Giancarlo just came back, was not doing enough. They weren't robbing. They weren't stealing bases. They weren't even attempting it. They were bottom 3 in attempts and in stolen bases. They get Jazz Chisholm. They're not going to play him in the outfield. They don't know where they're going to play him. They played him center field first game. He got 2 steals. And then in the last 2 games, in the last 24 hours, he has 4 home runs. I said when this trade went down, and I'll say it again, but that episode got, the audio is all screwed up. But I'll say it right now. Because of Judge, because of Soto, because there's so much other people to worry about in that lineup for the Yankees, it doesn't matter where Jazz hits, whether he's going to be leadoff, which I believe he will eventually be their leadoff hitter. He will get pitches to hit. He is a good hitter, good power. He has 5-tool upside, like a Bobby Witt, like a Gunnar Henderson. He played third base the last 2 games. He's looked very good at third base. Cannon for an arm, fast, all the 5 tools athletically that you want. Bat to ball skills, exit velocity, power. He has everything you want. And because Judge and Soto and Giancarlo are in that lineup, it's gonna put pressure off of Jazz because pitchers are not gonna focus on him. They're going to make mistakes, and Jazz is going to take advantage. He's already done it. 4 home runs in 3 games. 4 home runs. And all 4 home runs came in 2 games. He went back-to-back 2 home run games. I believe only Yankee to ever do that in the first 3 games of his debut with the team. Everybody loves him in the dugout. Judge said he's special. I've been saying he's special. The Marlins just didn't know what they were doing. Pitchers were literally coming after him because he was the only guy that could actually hit and be special in the Marlins. So very, very good move for the Yankees, and it's turned them around. They've won the last 3 games, I believe. The Cubs got Isaac Paredes for Christopher Morel, and Morel has already hit 2 bombs with the Rays. Morel to me is a superstar. I think that is Randy's replacement. Remove a superstar, got to bring another superstar type of caliber talent. Isaac Paredes is going to work for the Cubs as a power threat. Hasn't worked out so far in the first 3 games. Morel has worked out pretty well for the Rays so far, and I think he's only going to get better. So the Cubs, sellers, they should have sold Cody Bellinger. I don't know why they didn't, but, I guess because he's coming off an injury, didn't have a market. But that's a good trade for the Rays to try to get back some of what they lost with losing Randy. Matthew Stafford got an additional $5 million on his deal. They restructured it. They adjusted it. He's going to be fine. I think he's going to have a special season this year if he's healthy, especially. Um, so that's good for Matthew. Christian Barmore's out with blood clots, like we said. Sam Williams, the DN for the young DN for the Cowboys, he tore his ACL. He's done. Another big blow for that D line rotation. More pressure on Micah, basically. More focus on Micah. Samson Ebukam tore his Achilles for the Colts, so he's out the 2024 season. He, former Super Bowl champion with the Rams, D end, productive. So that sucks for them, and that hurts them. 49ers is out of training camp. Drake Jackson, the D end, he tries to recover from a knee injury. And their rookie running back out of Louisville, Isaac Guerrero, is expected to be sidelined multiple weeks with a hamstring injury. So more tough news for the 49ers. Danico Autry, the defensive end for the Texans, he's on a 6-game suspension because of basically PEDs. So he's being dumb. That's a big blow, but they got Will Anderson, they got Danielle Hunter, so they can battle through that. Danico was for the rotation. It's going to hurt him the first 6 weeks, but I don't think it'll hurt him that much because they have two monsters up front. Jesse Winker went from the Nationals to his hometown Mets. I think it's a good move for the Mets. He can hit for power. He's a good hitter. The Nationals weren't doing much. Jesse was not lined up with their timeline because they're so young, with Elaine Thomas, with possibly a Dylan Cruz coming up eventually, hopefully soon, with C.J. Abrams and Wood. So Jesse Winker to the Mets is pretty good. Michael Kopech went to the Dodgers. They need a closer. I think that he's going to turn into their closer, put Phillips in a setup role, most likely. So he goes from losing White Sox to the top of the board with the Dodgers for the Dodgers making a World Series playoff push, basically. Nestor Cortez did not get traded. I wish he would have, though, because Tarek Skubal and Garrett Crochet did not get traded. Unfortunately, they didn't get traded. In Olympic basketball news, USA beat Serbia, kicked their ass, especially in the second half. Without Jokic on the floor, Serbia went 3 for 29. They were minus 27 without him on the floor. They were 81-81 with him on the floor. LeBron and KD had a great game. KD especially, he went 8 for 8 out the gate, 5 for 5 from 3 in the first half, 21 points, including a buzzer beater. Just showed that he's uncoverable. That's why he's the best USA Olympic player of all time. And then LeBron, doing LeBron things, scored 21, almost triple-double. They're calling him La Captain America now. I don't know about that. They gave him that nickname now. But Captain L'America is what they're calling him. But we whooped Serbia. We whooped South Sudan today by 20 as well. Curry had a bad game. Bam Adebayo had a great game, hit 2 threes, was a menace in the paint. Anthony Davis had a good stint, had a good minutes with blocks and scoring. LeBron had a good game. Other than that, Derek White had a good game. Jason Tatum started, so because against Serbia, Tyrese Halliburton and Jason Tatum didn't play. People were like, "Oh, why can't you play him?" Kerr said, "Hey, it's a 40-minute game." To find, to find how to play 12 guys, it's impossible. We can only play 10 realistically. He'll play in other games. He started this game. He sat Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid didn't play this game against South Sudan. I think he'll play in our next game against Puerto Rico, my island that, Alvarado got hurt. So I think, unfortunately, we're done. But USA basketball should dominate. I'm expecting more from Curry. He didn't score a point today. He went 0 for 6 from 3. Expecting a little bit more from Ant, although he's playing great defense. But right now, KD and LeBron are the kind of the ones, running the show, if you will. All right, so the Reds acquired Ty France from the Mariners. Good power threat. Just to add to that lineup, add a little bit more juice to it, so that's good. The Mariners added Randy, so they could get rid of Ty France. Tarek Skubal and Garrett Crochet didn't get moved. A three-way deal happened between the St. Louis Cardinals, White Sox, and the Dodgers. They sent the White Sox sent Eric Fetty to the Cardinals, the good young pitcher. Then they sent Tommy Edman to the Dodgers. A guy that can hit and is young and relatively young. I think he's 27, 28, close to maybe 31-ish. But he's good. Coming off an injury, I believe. But an infielder, second baseman, a guy that can fill in. And the White Sox got prospects in return. Miguel Vargas got traded to the White Sox from the Dodgers, so they basically sent him to hell, basically. Unfortunately, he went from the Dodgers to the White Sox. I mean, that's tough. Alvin Kamara is looking for a contract, but he's not holding out. He's still at training camp. He's practicing. So, he wants a contract, but, he's not willing to hold out from practice, which is good. I think that they'll get it done eventually. I don't know when, but I think they'll get it done eventually for one of the best running backs in the league. Justin Turner went to the Mariners, is already having an impact from the Blue Jays. He's 37 years old, but he's still a good bat with good power and a good veteran presence. World Series champion with the Dodgers. And also, I believe the Red Sox. I know the Dodgers for sure. I might be wrong about the Red Sox, but great. That's a great move by the Mariners. Mariners making a push for that playoff push. The Cowboys supposedly were closing in on a 4-year deal worth $136 million with CeeDee Lamb. That hasn't come through the wire yet. It was supposedly floated out there, but it hasn't fully happened yet. The Astros traded their second, 5th, and 19th round prospect for Yusei Kikuchi, probably because Urquidy's not coming back, or McCullers, or possibly Vasquez. JV hasn't been up to snuff this year, so they need starting pitching. Yeah, he's 4.9. Has a 4.9 record, 4.75 ERA, 115 innings pitched, 130 strikeouts, which is pretty good, a whip of 134. I think that possibly because the Blue Jays weren't offensively, keeping them in games. That's why you see the win-loss record like that. I think with the Astros, he'll do better. Nick Chubb is cleared has been cleared from the knee. It's not expected to be ready for the start of the regular season, though. They're working on his change of direction and his full speed sprinting. They're being very cautious with him, and no pressure on him. I mean, he tore his PCL again after doing it in college, so I understand this. I think Nick Chubb will have a good season, though. The Yankees tried to go after Jack Flaherty. They failed. The Dodgers got Jack Flaherty. And that's a good move for the Dodgers, especially considering that Yamamoto is probably not going to come back this year. They still have Walker Buehler up and down. They don't know. Bobby Miller up and down. They don't know. So, good move for them to get Jack Flaherty. For the Yusei Kikuchi trade, what they sent over there was their starting pitcher, Jake Bloss, the rookie. This is the Astros sending to the Blue Jays. Joey Loperfido, a rookie, first baseman, outfielder, good hitting skill and stuff. He can grow into that. He can be something. And then infielder Will Wagner, the son of former Houston Ray Billy Wagner. The Giants signed Greg Van Roten, the guard. He started all 17 games for the Raiders last year, playing over 1,000 snaps. They got him basically because, the O-line coach for the Giants is his old Vegas O-line coach, so that's pretty good for their line. The Bills signed veteran safety Kareem Jackson to a 1-year deal. Former Texans and Broncos starter lands, in Buffalo at age 36. Losing Jordan Poyer, you have to somehow, some way, add a piece there that you can be confident in, a veteran. So that's good for them. The Panthers placed Rashad Penny on the reserve retired list. Rashad Penny, at 28 years old, retired as well, just like Michael Gallup. Was a good running back, but could never get past the injuries, the below the leg injuries, and so he's done. Another blow for the Panthers. Roman Wilson got hurt for the Steelers, the rookie. He was doing really good. He got hurt, nothing serious, but he's going to be out a couple of days as well. Garrett Crochet and Luis Robert, which I thought were going to get moved, Luis Robert especially, they're not getting moved. They're staying with the White Sox and eternally losing. From the NBA, the Portland Trailblazers are expected to move at least Jeremy Grant or Anthony Simons. If they move Anthony Simons, it's going to be Scoot and Shaden Sharp's team. If they move Jeremy Grant, then it'll be Anthony Simons, Scoot Henderson, and Shaden Sharp's team. I would move Jeremy Grant, keep the young piece, build around that. But, with a young score like that, maybe the market's high and a guy and a team maybe like you could see the Warriors or, even the Lakers that supposedly wanted Jeremy Grant. So, Anthony Simons is a guy that maybe the Nets go after, somebody that needs like legitimate scoring, Pelicans, stuff like that, would be or the Heat. Put him next to Tyler Hero, maybe. Ladd McConkey has been wide receiver 1 through camp. I was expecting that. The kid is incredible. So I expect him to be very, very high on the target list. All right, let's get John Kaminsky tore his MCL, the veteran D end for the Lions. He's out to be possibly back for the playoffs. That's a big blow for them. Twins and Blue Jays made a deal. Trevor Richards went to the Twins, the pitcher. The Twins are also making a push, so I understand getting another guy in the rotation. Maybe put him from the bullpen. Who knows? He's a starter, but we'll see. All-Star, Tanner Scott, the other good player we had in the Marlins. The Padres got him. He's been a 1.18 ERA this year, 45 and 2/3 innings pitched. He's going to be great with the Padres. They're making a push as well for the NL wild card. So that's a big. I think he's going to become their closer, or probably setup man. But I think he'll become their closer, Suarez, to be their setup man. JT Shargoy from the Miami Marlins also traded to the Seattle Mariners, another right-handed pitcher, out of the bullpen, another guy to like really strengthen that that Mariners bullpen, especially after losing Ryan Stanek. Paulie Punch-Out, Paul Blackburn is a Met now. A good rotation piece for the Mets. Could really shine there if they really like let him. So the Athletics finally get rid of one of those arms, and they got rid of another one in Urseg. We'll talk about that when I get there. The Texas Rangers got Andrew Chafin from the Detroit Tigers, another reliever. Rangers aren't doing nothing, so I guess the Detroit Tigers are just dumping right there, essentially, because the Rangers aren't really doing anything. Paul DeJong, big power threat from the White Sox, got moved to KC. Beautiful move. I love this move. Deserves a clap. They need power. It's just Bobby and Pasquantino there. They need another pop in that lineup, and Paul DeJong is a good start. They should have gotten Luis Robert or maybe Vladdy Guerrero, but, beggars can't be choosers. Even though he's been hurt all season, Alex Cobb got traded to the Guardians from the San Francisco Giants. That's a good rotation piece, and if he's fully healthy, he could be a top of the line starter for the Guardians, alongside Trevor Williams and Gavin Williams and Tanner Bybee. So that's a good move for the Guardians. Caleb Ferguson goes from the left-hander, goes from the Yankees to the Astros. They need bullpen. I believe he's a bullpen piece. If not, he's a starter. The Astros need it anyway because of McCullers, because of Urquidy, because of JV. They just need rotation pieces. So that's a good move for them. Josh Bell gets traded from the Marlins to Arizona. Power, good. Maybe get easier pitches to hit because of that lineup is a little bit better. Is better than Miami. So good for Arizona. So what we got for Trevor Rogers from the Orioles is Connor Norby, a rookie, highly touted, number 5 prospect infielder for the Orioles, and Kyle Stowers, another prospect. But Connor Norby could be another Jazz type of dude. Really could pop as a star. So we'll see what happens, and probably will sell him. We sent Trevor Rogers to, the Marlins sent left-hander Trevor Rogers to the Orioles. Lucas Sims from the Reds to Boston. A good young rotation piece there that they can just add to the rotation there. Brett Phillips, former Major League outfielder, is reportedly signed with the New York Yankees on a minor league deal as a pitcher. We'll see what happens there. Mark Leiter Jr. goes to the Yankees from the Cubs. Good bullpen piece. I think the kid has some really good stuff, could possibly move into the closer role. We'll see. But I think it's a good move for the Yankees. What the Marlins got for Tanner Scott from the Padres was Brian Hoeing. We got Brian Hoeing. We sent Brian Hoeing to the Padres as well, the right-hander. We got Robbie Snelling, a left-handed pitcher. Adam Mazur, which is a rookie that had been pitching for them relatively well. And then Graham Pauley and Jay Bashir. So I'm guessing, two prospects. Baltimore Orioles got Eloy Jimenez from the White Sox, another power threat. I think it's a good move. I think Eloy's going to do good at the White Sox, to be honest. I like that move for the Orioles. They have a lot of young talent. Jackson Holliday got called up today again. So hopefully he stays in the rotation now. Don't know what they're going to do with Gunnar Henderson, if they're going to put Jackson Holliday at shortstop or they're going to put him at third or second, but we'll see what happens there. I don't think you move Gunnar Henderson. Brazoban goes from the Marlins to the Mets. Another bullpen piece for the Mets, making a push. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa goes to the Pirates. Utility player, somebody that you can play, here and there. He's batting .292 in 82 games this season, so we'll see. But, the Pirates need any type of pitching, hitting help. And now they got it. They get Brian De La Cruz, our last good hitter at the Marlins. Besides Xavier Edwards, that rookie, I think he's going to be good with Connor Norby. Is going to be a good combination. with the Marlins. But the Marlins trade Brian De La Cruz to Pittsburgh. Absolutely needed with O'Neal Cruz, B-Ray, Connor Joe. You add another bat with power to add some danger to that lineup for pitchers. Really good move by the Pirates. Tanner Banks goes from the White Sox to the Phillies, the left-handed pitcher. Good move for the Phillies. A little bit more, more depth there. The Dodgers got Jack Flaherty, like I said, from Detroit. Really good move, especially since Walker Buehler and Yamamoto. You don't know what's happening. Yamamoto especially not playing. You don't know what happened with Bobby Miller. So probably take the spot of like Landon Knack. And, then you have Glass now. You go Glass now. If Walker Buehler's healthy, you go Walker Buehler, Clayton Kershaw, and then Jack Flaherty. That's pretty good for the postseason. Kevin Kiermaier goes to the Dodgers from the Blue Jays as well. Good bat, great outfielder. Good move by the Dodgers. Dylan Carson got the outfielder from the Cardinals, got traded to the Rays. Another bat for the Cardinals. And then the Cardinals got Sean Armstrong, the righty, in return. So then they said Garrett Crochet would not be traded. Then Mark Canha went from Detroit to San Francisco. Another bat for San Francisco. They need it if they want to score runs. They just got Ramos right now and, Tyler Fitzgerald, but, you need more. Martin Perez from the Pirates to the Padres. Good move for the Padres. Another starting piece. Was doing good this year with the Pirates. So good piece for the Padres. Then the Yankees acquired Padres relief pitcher Enyel De Los Santos. So good, for the bullpen. Dylan Floro, former Marlin, was with the Nationals. He's one of the best relievers in baseball. He got moved to Arizona, which they needed because Paul Sewell hasn't been that good this year. And then Montero's not that good. And you need that type of bullpen pitcher for you to be able to get deep into games and win games in the postseason. So I like that move. Orioles got from the Phillies Gregory Soto, good bullpen piece, hard thrower. So the Orioles are just building up that bullpen. I like it. And then DJ Moore, we talked about this, got a 4-year, $110 million contract extension, $82.6 million guaranteed. This puts so much pressure on CeeDee Lamb. This puts so much pressure on the Brendan Ayuk. This is probably the Brendan Ayuk deal, $27.5 million a year. This basically cements the fact that DJ Moore is in their long-term plans. I completely agree. He's a star, especially with Roma Dunze and Keenan Allen there, and now with Caleb Williams. So I'm not mad at this at all. I like it for DJ Moore. I'm proud of him. I'm proud for the Chicago of doing this. They paid Montez Sweat last year after they acquired him, paying this guy after a career year and more to come as a young dude, 24, 25 years old. Absolutely love it. Just puts more pressure on other teams to pay their stars. Jamar Chase, like I said, Brendan Ayuk. They gotta start paying. Let's see. Wilfredo Marlins got a minor league called Wilfredo Lara from the Mets in exchange for Brazoban. So we'll see if he plays anytime soon. Roman Wilson sprained his ankle, so he'll be out a couple of practices, but he'll be ready for the start of the season. When we get to the highest paid wide receivers now, it goes Justin Jefferson at $35 million. You go A.J. Brown at $32. Amon-Ra St. Brown at $30.02. Tyreek at $30. Jalen Waddle at $28.25. Devontae Adams at $28. DJ Moore at $27.5. Cooper Kupp at 26.7, Devontae Smith at 25 million, and Nico Collins at 24.25 million. If I were to put Brandon Ayuk in this bunch, it would be around the DJ Moore 27.5, $28 million range. We'll see what 49ers want to give him. Jackson Holiday got called up. Thank God. Hopefully he can stay there and, fulfill the number one prospect in baseball. He still was the number one prospect of this baseball. So hopefully he can finally get the stride and start, like a Gunnar Henderson and start really hitting his stride. Don't know where they're going to play him because Gunnar Henderson's at short, maybe at second, maybe at third. Who knows? And then finally, for my bookmarks, the Dolphins have signed Willie Snead, the fourth. Played with the Saints, played with Texans. Good hands, veteran. Nothing too crazy to write home about, but something good for us for Tua to have as a dump off or third option, fourth option. Not bad. Lastly, we're gonna get into baseball a little bit. I want to talk about tomorrow. It's Texans, Jaguars. Nobody's gonna play. It's the Hall of Fame game. But finally, football's here. That's what it means. And the college football is right around the corner as well. So excited for that. In MLB, if we go to the standings, Baltimore's a half game up on the Yankees. Now the Yankees have started to catch up. They were 1.5 games back in 2 days ago. Now they're a half game back, so that's going to be a battle to the end. Boston is 7 games back, so I think they're going to go for the wild card. Cleveland in the Central, they're 6 games up on Minnesota. I don't think Minnesota can make that difference. KC 6 games back as well, so they're going to fight it in the wild card as well. Seattle's a half game up on Houston. Houston was a half game up on Seattle, but they lost yesterday. Seattle won today, so they flip-flop, and I think they're flip-flopping for the rest of the season. Texans are starting to make a push. They're 4.5 games back, but I think that they'll be, unless they get really up there like 1.5 a game, half a game, I think that they'll be pushing for the wild card. Phillies in the National League are 6.5 games up on the Braves. I don't think that changes. I think the Braves are going for the wild card. Milwaukee's 5 games up on St. Louis, 5.5 games up on the Pittsburgh. I think that doesn't change either. I think that the Pirates in St. Louis are going for the wild card. And then the Dodgers are 5.5 games up on Arizona, 5.5 games up on the Padres. It could get closer, but I believe that Arizona and the Padres are also going to be fighting for the wild card. If we go to the wild card, we have the Yankees 4.5 games up. The Twins and KC are tied for those last 2 spots, and then Boston's 2 games back of KC right now. So KC has a little bit of a buffer. Houston's 4 games back. Tampa Bay's 4.5. Once you get to Texas, it's 8. So that's a little iffy. I don't think that'll happen. So it's between Minnesota, KC, who are in right now, Boston, Houston, Tampa. That's your wild card race in the AL. In the NL, it's a little bit crazier. Atlanta has a 1-game lead on the first spot of the wild card. Arizona and the Padres are tied on the last 2 spots. Then you have the Mets a half game back. Then you have St. Louis a game and a half back. The Pirates are 2 games back. And San Francisco is 5 games back, and so is Cincinnati. I think that's the cutoff right there because the Cubs are 7 games back. I don't think that they can get back up there. When we go to MVP, because we're getting closer, we're at the 110, almost 120 game mark. Bobby Witt, Gunnar Henderson for AL. Bobby Witt, Gunnar Henderson, of course, Aaron Judge, Juan Soto. Those are my picks right there for MVP for the AL. When you look at Bobby Witt, he leads the league in an average. He's at 349. He's absolutely tearing the cover off the baseball. Hit a grand slam two games ago. Leading the league in average at 349. Aaron Judge has 39 home runs. He's leading. Shohei has 32. For the NL, I think it's between Shohei and Bryce Harper. I don't think anybody else is really sneaking in there in the NL for the MVP as of right now. Marcell Ozuna's at 31. Anthony Santander's at 31. Gunnar Henderson hasn't hit one in about, I think, 6 games. He's at 28. Vladdy climbed up his average all the way to 311. He's tied for 4th. Shohei's at 311. He's tied for 4th. Aaron Judge is at 316. He's 3rd in the league. So Bobby Witt, Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, I mean, they're top 4 in the league in all of baseball in average, which is insane because the best power hitter in baseball is Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani. So for them to be at over a 300 average is absolutely incredible. RBIs, Aaron Judge has 99. Jose Ramirez, J-Ram, he has 87. Marcell Ozuna has 84. Juan Soto has 77. Brent Rooker has 77. Shohei is at 76, and Bobby's at 76. So they're all right there. I mean, we're splitting hairs at this point. You know, it's really incredible to see like that it's so close, but like at the end of the day, like it's between those guys, and it's gonna be so close at the end anyway. Judge is probably the leading candidate in the AL as of right now, even though I love Bobby, what he's doing. Gunnar Henderson, he has to pick it up again because Bobby, Judge, and Soto are kind of, you know, starting to move forward a little bit away from him. He has to start hitting bombs again and start, you know, producing at that level again after the All-Star break. So I think he'll get back to that. Brent Rooker didn't get moved. Oakland has a good team, young team. Lawrence Butler, Zach Geloff, Soderstrom, Brent Rooker makes it tick, Shane Langoliers. So maybe in the next few years, unless they sell everything, in the next few years, Oakland is going to be good, at least from the plate. Bobby leads the league in hits with 151. I think he could get to 200 hits. If he gets to 200 hits and he's hitting like 340 or plus, it's going to be so tough to give that to Judge. That is such a crazy, crazy season, especially if he gets to 30 or 40 stolen bases. That's where he's missing right now. He's at like 20-something stolen bases right now. So, Bobby, you want to get to 30 at least because 200-hit season with a 340-plus batting average and over 120 RBIs would be absolutely crazy, and that's what you need to go against Aaron Judge right now. Luis Arias at 134. Jose Altuve is at 133. Could get to maybe to 200. I don't think so. But another Jose Altuve over 150 hit season. I mean, first ballot Hall of Famer, cemented. Crazy what he's doing. He's over 300 as well. Jarren Duran is at 132, just cementing his all-star status. And Vladdy's at 130, finally back to his normal output. Ellie De La Cruz at 55 stolen bases. Bryce Strang is second at 32. Ohtani has 28. Logan Thomas is at 28. Jose Caballero's at 28. Bobby is at 24. So you got to pick it up in these last few these last few 50 games, Bobby, because if you get to 40, that'd be crazy. That'd be nuts. When you look at pitching, the Cy Young in the NL is between Chris Sale and I would say Dylan Cease, Tyler Glasnow. That's what we're looking at in the NL. In the AL, you have, and Zach Wheeler. In the AL, you can have anybody from Seth Lugo, Tarek Skubal, Corbin Burns, Dylan Cease also for the NL Cy Young dark horse there. Logan Gilbert possibly, but for my thing, I think it's going to be Tarek Skubal and Chris Sale for the Cy Young. Tarek Skubal is incredible. He's 12 wins, one behind the lead. Chris Sale has the lead. Grayson Rodriguez had a good season too. He's at 13 wins as well. Seth Lugo for KC, he has 12 wins. Corbin Burns is at 11 wins. ERA, Tarek Skubal's at 2.35, leading the league. Corbin Burns at 2.47. He's the reigning Cy Young champ. Seth Lugo's at 2.66. Chris Sale's at 2.71. Tanner Houck is at 2.79. So, Tarek Skubal wins the ERA crown there. Then you go to saves. You got Class A with 33. Helsley with 33. Cal Finnegan with 28. Craig Kimbrell, the legend, with 23. Robert Suarez with 23. You go to strikeouts. Dylan Cease got a no-hitter last week on 114 pitches. Second no-hitter of the year after Ronel Blancos for the Astros earlier in May, I believe. Dominating. He's at 168 Ks. Garrett Crochet, 160 K. Chris Sale is at 155 K. Tyler Grasnow's at 155 Ks. And Tarek Skubal's at 154 K. So there's my two picks right there. Tarek Skubal and Chris Sale right in the top five. 154, 155. Dylan Cease sliders going nuts this year in the Padres. And then in quality starts, you got Corbin Burns with 18, Logan Gilbert with 17, Seth Lugo with 16, Tarek Skubal with 16, and Zach Wheeler with 15. So for me, I think it's going to be Tarek Skubal and Chris Sale as of right now. And then MVP, it's between right now. If I had to pick, I would pick Judge, but only slightly over Bobby Witt right now. Bobby can get there, but he has to really keep this up because Judge is going to hit 50-plus home runs. And then in the NL, I think it's Shohei Ohtani as the first time as DH. The guy is absolutely incredible, and he's not even pitching. He's pitching next year. Other than that, thank you very much. Thank you for being patient. I'm going to upload this so it comes out tomorrow at the regularly scheduled time at 9 a.m. I love you guys. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Keep supporting. Follow me on all my socials. I'm working on clips. That's another thing my computer just doesn't want to do right now. But I love you guys, and I leave you with the outro.